What's up, everybody? Look, this episode got a little out of hand. It's not our finest work. However, it's pretty funny. So I thought at first to just scrap it, but there's some really funny bits in it that I was like, we probably could all deal with a laugh right now. So, not our most informative, not our most thought-provoking, but should lighten the mood for a day. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies, and tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Robert Ditoff.
Hi, everybody.
I have Just One.
Yo, what's happening?
I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
Tonight we're going to be talking about something that kind of rides the coattails of the display discussions that we've been having, which we're going to have a part 3 of here soon. But before that, we're going to have this discussion, which is about posing, where people pose their figures, how people pose their figures. So the other night we were organizing or reorganizing some figures on a shelf, and I was trying to get the light to shine more on some of the figures, and you found them to be very emasculating.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Ooh, that's not very woke of you in this new age.
No, but he gets so serious looking.
How?
Like your lips get all tense.
What lips?
And then like you just like these subtle little adjustments. One hip tilt this way, one one gun slightly tilted in. Like it's just, I mean, it's nice. It's always worthwhile in the end. Like, but it is funny to watch you do it.
I think that it makes a difference. So we were actually talking about the different style of displays and how they lend themselves to different posing options. And I was looking at actually Maja cases, which we've talked about on here a bit, but it just goes to show that the furniture has nothing to do with it if you don't know how to display figures. Because I looked at this Maja case picture, and nothing against the cases or the figures or the person that posed them, but they were all in there looking like they were ready for a concert to begin.
They're just standing.
A sea of 1/6 scale figures, arms straight down, legs straight down, heads forward, body straight, just lined up like they were waiting for the party to start. But it just goes to show that the furniture doesn't make it, the figures don't make it. You can have impressive displays with trash figures, you can have trash displays with impressive figures, and vice versa.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the typical display, right, for the cool guy is to have, little arm tilt, little A stance, little twist. Maybe someone's doing something sassy. And I'm sick of that, too.
Yeah?
What do you do? I mean, what's the answer to that?
Yeah,
That's what I do!
You just don't do it well.
Posing each figure depends on the figure, right?
And I think it depends on the space that you have.
I got my 2 bees next to each other. One's breakdancing.
My issue was I had Megatron standing on this platform, and he wasn't under the light, and
So his head was lit, but the rest of his body was not.
And it looked kind of dry and static, and we picked one leg up and moved it to the back of another layer behind him, so like he was climbing down from it, and now he's more under the light, and the light is shining on him, and the pose is more dynamic, and it looks more action-based, and it looks 10 times better.
For sure.
That changed the dynamics of it. And when I think of the amount of figures that I have displayed on my shelves that are pretty much just in the pose that you're talking about, Robert, the A stance pose, that maybe perhaps that's part of the problem as well. But there's a logistic issue to that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you get more figures in an A stance pose.
Right. At the same time with that, you don't want to go too far.
A smart person doesn't want to go too far, but the average collector out there, jam-packed.
Here, look, Legends, a stupid Legends image right there. A stance, all standing there like a bunch of idiots.
Are you thinking about making them more dynamic?
Your first problem is that shelf is way too big for those little figures.
Problem, though, is if you make the shelf too short, the light doesn't go down into them. Why don't you light your shelves? Because I'm not asshole.
I mean,
what I'm going to do is my Iron Factory bots are getting placed with my Make Toys big bots, and they're going to get their own big Billy shelf. That's where I'm going with that. And so you get the light and you get the space.
Do you have any masterpieces displayed on Billies, like proper full Billies?
Sure.
What's the most you have on one shelf?
Oh,
217.
Man. Okay, if it's just fans toys, it's
took a page out of
4 to 6 is like the sweet spot.
4 to 6 is the sweet spot.
Yeah, I would agree.
4 to 6 MPs on a shelf is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the figure, man. If you had 6 Seekers on there.
But I think 6 Seekers is too many, but I think 4 is probably fine.
But hold on, let's go to that MP. Look at the way you have that Cyclonus pose is crazy. He's about to flex. He just entered a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
He's swole clonus.
That's terrible, Robert.
Thank you. It's swole clonus, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
You want a worse shelf? I'll show you a worse shelf.
No, but like that Cyclonus, there's zero pride put into the pose of that Cyclonus.
No. Take a look at the next photo. That's zero pride. That is zero pride right there.
Yeah, no, that's zero pride also. But I feel like there's more pride in the breakdown pose than there is in the Cyclonus pose.
There's a Cyclonus.
Ooh, he's like He's like challenging someone to a dance off. I feel that front foot is tapping. Look at the wires too. It's so Cybertronic.
You have to pose them on the table and then transfer them to the
Yeah, so
table.
sometimes when Bobby's like aggravated that they're not doing what they want, that he moves them to another shelf where he can like set them up first, and then he's kind of like squishing them into the shelf and then moving them around, squishing them into the shelf and moving them around, and then he picks them up and puts them back, and then he'll tweak them from there. But
I think once again it becomes about the variety, like A stance, action pose, crouching, just a number of characters doing a number of different poses in a given space.
Check this out.
The fastest one on the box is my favorite.
Which one's that?
Yo.
Why is he standing on the box?
Yo, it's his house.
Oh. Oh, they're like falling down the shelf.
Yeah, why don't you just pick them up, Robert?
I got no time.
Robert, you don't have any pride in this.
No, I got one that you're gonna love. Here you go.
Yeah, this is terrible, Robert. Why do you have just an extra arm? Like, why do you have Rampage just hanging out?
I think the take-home message is that just as it's important to have like the proper shelving and lighting, like that's not enough. You know, you need to go all the way.
I think that the pose needs to speak to the character that the figure is representing.
Yeah,
I agree. And then also, Robert, if you're not taking it serious, no one else that looks at it's going to take it serious.
He's laughing. Just because
You're mean.
The Superion one looks good, but look, he has Sunstreaker in an A stance, he has Sideswipe in an A stance, he has Superion in an A stance, but Prime is doing something, Bumblebee is doing something, like...
And you could have one of them in the A stance.
You can have a few, there just has to be a variety. They can't all look the same. They can't all look like they came off an assembly line. This Iron Factory picture that he showed, it's like they all just got pressed off of an assembly line and are just waiting for somebody to box them up. Put some life in them things.
Ooh, I got a better one for you. Hold on.
Yeah, that's terrible, Robert.
Thanks.
What are you doing?
I'm doing me.
Is that a half-eaten cookie on the shelf?
Dude, why even waste the shelf space? Dude, you can never talk about the Marvel Legends collector again.
I can because I'm worse.
Let me see your Dragon Ball Z shelf.
Well, these things fall down like
Oh, the disclaimer.
you know what?
They're all sleeping right now. It's like, shh, they're sleeping.
No, the fact that I'm telling you that now actually means it's true. No? Hold on. Let's take a look. They're up above my door. Oh, yeah. They're not looking so good, guys. Not looking so good. It's Majin Buu is taking a nap.
Majin Buu.
Go.
That's not terrible. That's not terrible.
Majin Buu.
Yeah, he looks rough. But the rest of it looks pretty purposeful. They all have their own space. The dragon should probably be in the center, but like...
It is in the center, but there's nothing on the left because it all fell over.
So we were all talking about names that we should call certain types of displayers. And what do we have for the Detolf collector?
So if you're strictly a Detolf user, you are called a Detard. If you have Detolfs on top of Bestas, you're called the Reformatted collector.
Oh, I remember this now. Okay, yes.
If you keep all your figures on a dirty mattress, that's called the Legend. If you have everything crammed into a poorly lit credenza, that's called the Nona. You try to jazz up your Detolfs with lighting, but every option you try doesn't work in the long run. It's called the lightning bug. All right, if you only use floating shelves, it's called the open floor plan. I think, if you just only use the Billy bookcase, it's called the Goat. It's the greatest of all time.
Greatest of
Let's
all
see.
time.
If you have a scratched up cherry veneer bookcase that you've had for 15 years, it's called the Just Getting Started.
Oh,
Dude, that's
God.
so funny. Everything in a poorly lit room strewn together with boxes, figures, and trash is called the Robert D.
Seeing it. There you go, Bobby. It ties in. Now you gotta
Refusing
make
to
it happen.
accept that TFs just don't display together well, so you keep pumping out dios for your billies is the Bobby Dio-Face.
Bobby Dio-Face.
Dio-Face.
No, because it elevates. There's like an order. You're a detard, and then you're reformatted, and then you're a lightning bug.
It's like going into a chrysalis.
I'm currently a reformatted lightning bug.
You start out as,
Going on.
you know,
Bobby's
but then-
definitely in that lightning bug phase.
Oh, Bobby's in the lightning. And then you got but Bobby's special. Bobby, he's got Billy. He's got Detolfs on Bestas. He's got Billy's. He's got Dio. He's got the lit Detolf on the Bestas. He's got the Billy's with the Dios.
And the lights.
The lights for 'em all.
Multiple lights.
The glass case.
An evolution of
And
lights.
then he's got Manja cases coming.
Got
Glass
some floating
cases,
shells.
floating
Being
shells. Yeah, he dabbles
Bobby.
in it all.
Bobby is the
That's,
light.
that's the Renaissance man.
But
That's
Rob-
the Renaissance man. Oh, God. Oh, well. Maybe not the most informative, but a good time.
Edward Scissorhands.
I'd like to see a lightning bug.
I want to see a picture of Cyclomus going to the gym.
Let's see a picture of the scene with Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
A whole bunch of Legends figures in a Billy shelf that's not lit.
God dang it.